Hey guys, Dan Javidi here, hope you're all well. So this video is about recycling your cash out. Why is that so important? Unless you have an endless pot of gold at the end of a rainbow, you are going to eventually run out of cash whilst buying property. But if you follow the recycle your cash method, which is buy, refurbish and refinance, you should be able to make that pot of cash that you've got go a little bit further. So before we get started, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to get notifications when I upload a new video. Why is buying and refurbishing and refinancing and recycling your cash so important? Well, as I said right at the start of the video, unless you've got an endless pot of gold, you are going to run out of cash. And cash is king in property. And there's nothing worse when you're doing a deal and another deal comes along and it's a great project, but you don't have the cash to go forward with it. There are other ways that you can always raise funds through lenders and investors. Now, this is one of my favorite methodologies in property. It's one of the things that's helped me grow my portfolio quite quickly, and we were able to buy at such volume because we were recycling cash quite quickly. There's some unwritten rules and some myths that you can't do it within 6 months of purchase. We're going to overcome some of those in this video. So crudely speaking, what are we talking about? What is recycling your cash? Really simply put, you buy a property either for cash or with a lender, spend money doing it up, you refinance it with the same lender or a new lender at the higher value. Higher value means that you can pull some, if not all, of the cash that you've put into the deal out and then go and buy another property. Sounds really simple. It should be that simple, but there are some hurdles that are out there which will make you come unstuck really quickly. First one is valuations. Valuations have been the bane of my life since I've been involved in property. There's different views on what you should do when you have your valuation. People say give examples of previously sold properties in the area. People say give the receipts of all the work that you've done. Give before and after pictures of the project that you've just done. My experience is to always be there when the surveyor is there. Don't try and talk them around. They're professionals, they know what they're doing, they've got a lot of experience, and they'll make their own mind up. They'll ask you any questions, and they may be some things about rental income, they may want a copy of your ASTs, they may want a copy of the works that you've done. They're definitely going to want the details around licenses for HMOs and building reg submissions and all those things. Be prepared, be ready to help and assist them, but don't force your views on them. Don't force all this other stuff that I listed before on them. You're better off just letting them get on with it. Different lenders have different instructions to surveyors, so they're all going to be told to do different things. And you won't always get the same valuation from two separate surveyors. You just need to be prepared. The value that you think the property is going to be worth after the refurb is not necessarily what the valuation is going to come back to. You need to just be fully aware of that and be prepared that the lowest valuation that you could potentially get, the deal still stacks up. The second thing is purchase prices. This may sound really obvious, but if you don't buy the property at the right price, it's going to be harder to recycle your cash out. The amount of people that come to me and say, look, I'm struggling to get all of my money out or even half of my money out. The problem is if you're overpaying for properties, you're gonna struggle because this is all about buying low and refinancing high after you've done the works. The higher the price you pay, the harder it's going to be to get or cash out. So it's going to come no surprise that the key to this working is to get a good deal. And I know it sounds really crazy. The key to any successful property deal is getting a good price. Next one is picking the right lender. Now, this may sound, again, really obvious. You're going to struggle to refinance properties if you don't get the right mortgage or the right finance in place. And the amount of people I've spoken to, and they've gone and got a standard buy-to-let mortgage on a house that they've purchased, and they then turn it into a HMO, and the product isn't the right product for a HMO. They go back to the lender after 6 months. The lender comes out to revalue so they can get a further advance, which is a simpler and quicker way of extracting the funds out with an existing lender. Lender says, well, hang on a minute, this is a HMO. You've got a standard buy-to-let mortgage here for a residential single dwelling. Of course, the lender doesn't release any funds, and then you have a big problem with the lender because you've got the wrong product and you have to go and refinance with either that lender onto the right product or with a completely different lender. Get the right product in place to begin with. Now, there's some great products out there specifically for buy, refurbish and refinance that work with this method. They're relevant to the types of projects that you want to be buying. So if you're buying a house, a really good deal, the chances are it's going to be in a bit of a state, and it kind of goes hand in hand. You get a really good deal on properties no one else want to buy. People don't want to buy them because they don't look very good. There's things wrong with them. They need completely overhauled, like kitchens and bathrooms are out. Really, the product isn't going to be right if you're just getting a buy-to-let mortgage. You want something like a light or small refurbished product, if not a bridging loan. People hear bridging loan and they get scared and they're worried about the high interest, but again, they are just a means to an end for these types of projects. And if you get the right lender and the right product in place, it starts to make the journey a lot easier. So we've found the property. It's not a very nice property, but we've got a great deal on it. So we've got tick one there, we've got it at a great price. We get the right lender on board with the right product, and okay, it's a bit expensive, but they know exactly what we're doing. Some lenders even have a bridging loan for these types of purchases, but they also have buy-to-let products that you can flip the bridging loan straight onto their standard term products. They're fantastic for buy, refurbish and refinance. Not only can you stay with one lender, you tend to have reduced fees, if not zero fees, so you pay it once instead of twice like you would normally do. Valuation, listeners' costs will reduced. Here's one of my favorites. You can do this straight away. As soon as that property is ready to be flipped onto a standard product, you can do it straight away. You haven't got to wait for 6 months like some lenders. Now, speed is everything with this, because the quicker you can do it, the quicker you can go again if you're working with a single pot of cash. You can turn these around every 3 to 4 months, then all of a sudden to do 2 or 3 of these a year. We talked about the types of properties, buy and right, about the surveying process and the valuations. We talked about the lenders. Talk about the other end of this, the rental income. If I bought a property today and the market, for whatever reason, fell off the edge of a cliff tomorrow, I could still survive with that property regardless of what my intentions were. So if I'm buying a property to buy and refurbish and sell on, and that market crashes, then I can always rent it. I've got a secondary market to rent, and it's still going to be a good deal. Equally, if I buy a property to rent and that rental target market falls off the edge of a cliff, and my second and third market also does, then I could always sell. So always be able to shift and move quite quickly with the market, either or. If you're buying and refurbishing and refinancing and you're getting all your cash out, great. But if something happens, it gets downvalued, a market shifts halfway through, and you can't get all of that cash out, is the return on the investment going to be viable? Is it going to stack up on the money that you've left in the deal? I don't know. That's why if you use my deal analyzer and return on investment calculator, that'll help you work this out. I always work on the worst case scenario, which is if I bought a property and the market fell off the edge of a cliff and all of that money was left in that deal for a period of time, what would my return on investment be on that amount of cash left in that one deal? If it's going to be below 20%, you need to be looking at a different deal. It should be a lot higher than that. You should be looking at like 35, 40%. It's all relative. It's going to be harder to get that in some of the markets where property prices are higher. I do get that. I only speak for my market and my returns on investment on previous projects and deals that I've done. The other golden rule that I have, if after I've refinanced it and I've got all my cash out, the property is cash flowing, net cash flowing after mortgage payments, bills, management costs, service charge, all of that, it's cash flowing less than £1,000 per month, I don't really want to do the deal. You don't want to have 15, 20 deals cash flowing 150 quid each. Be much better off having 2 or 3 cash flowing £1,000, £1,500, £2,000 net per calendar month. The best return on my time when I'm looking after those properties and managing them and doing the accounts, change and maintenance and everything else. So look at the net cash flow. Everyone's different, everyone's got a different set of circumstances, everyone is at a different stage. So don't take what I say as gospel. £500 per calendar month cash flow is definitely something you should consider, especially if you haven't got any properties. That could be a huge, huge difference. As you get to multiple units and you start having dozens in your portfolio, do you really want to add another property and another group of tenants? My view is if it cash flows £1,000 plus and I can refinance all of my cash out, great. The balance is, for me, is cash flow is better than getting the cash out. What do I mean by that? If I'm buying and I'm refurbishing it and I'm recycling, but I'm leaving some cash in there, but the cash flow is giving me a return on the money left in very, very strong, then I still do the deal. The cash flow is more important than getting all the money out in the right balance. My measure of that is whatever's left in the deal. If I can get 100% return on that or more in the first year, then I still do the deal. If I do a refinance and I've got 15 grand left in that deal, but the property is going to cash flow 16 grand in the first year, then it's going to give me over 100% payback in the first year. And everything after that year, I'm going to be cash positive. So I then look to do the deal. A lot of people that I talk to who are either midway or starting out, they like the idea of doing this by refurbish and refinance, but they don't understand some of the basic fundamentals. And I think if you follow some of the things that I've talked about tonight and some of the key things about buying right, then you should get it right and you should find it a lot easier to get that money out and have a really good cash flow on property at the end of it. That's it from me, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video and I hope you found the content rich. I'll catch you soon. Cheers, bye.